Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Video Game Talk!
Where we talk about video games.
Yeah, we do a thing.
And video game related media. Hi, welcome to Video Game Talk, the only talk show, well, there's many video game talk shows, but the only video game talk show that has a personality that isn't afraid to tell you the truth about gaming no matter how much they pay us. They don't pay us anything.
I really don't think that's necessarily that, like, we are the last bastion of truth in society so much as people just don't pay us.
No, yeah.
So as a result, there's no dirty money here.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag wanna be sponsored. Let us lie about your products. No. But until that dark day comes where we are but slaves to the corporate empire that beseeches us with early access, limited information, we're just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah. So here's the show. We have some great things to talk about today. We recently got a Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer that looks pretty dang awesome. First Wreck-It Ralph was pretty good.
I loved the first Wreck-It Ralph.
This has the potential to be even better, in my opinion. We got the Tomb Raider movie coming up, so with that in mind, we thought we're going to talk about the future of video game movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, the big news that we've talked about. We've either, one, talked about to death. We've completely talked it to exhaustion, and there's not really much bringing up worth. There's not much more worth bringing up, I think is what I intended to say. But we haven't. I feel like we always want to talk about movies, a little bit, but
Last
we never
week
do.
we kind of dabbled a little bit
We
because
did.
Kingdom Hearts brought up Disney and Disney
yeah,
brought up Disney
you
movies.
know, that whole saying.
So we're about to get into it. Before we do, just keep in mind that we'll reserve the last 10 to 20 minutes to answer your live questions right here on YouTube. And if you're not watching this live, go ahead and leave a comment below. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. But if you're watching this live and you absolutely must have your question answered before the last 10 to 20 minutes,
Super Chat!
hit that money button at the bottom.
Super Chat.
That's Super Chat, and then we will be obligated to answer your question.
I know, and, you know, be transparent about the fact it costs money, but, you know, like, all the donations are going to better equipment.
It costs money, and that's why we're obligated to answer if they do.
I know, right? So any donations that come the way as a result of the show, not required, but it's a great bastion. We will love you forever because it allows us to have better lighting in this room that is just barely working for lighting.
And then at the very end, we'll also be spamming you guys the link to our new channel, Video Game Network, which this show will continue to be every Thursday. But on that channel, this, my friends, is the last video game talk that you will see on the Rich Alvarez channel. We're moving over to the Video Game Network, and we will spam those links at the end. So
I'm gonna drop the link right now and just give my quick dissertation.
He's gonna spam the. He's gonna.
I'm just gonna drop it right now.
All right,
I'm just gonna drop it. So here's the link to the Video Game Network. Go
subscribe right now.
Hit the button, like do the thing, whatever.
Hit the
It's
bell.
super easy. Because long and the short of it, for starters, this show is moving over. All of the Rich Alvarez and a huge chunk of the Complaint Department live streams are moving to that channel. So if you like live content, if you like the live interaction, the live video game interaction, then guess what? It's all going to be there. And then second of all, and we'll get into this more as the stream comes to a close, but immediately after this hour of video game talk, we are transitioning directly. We are literally starting another stream like right on Video Game Talk, like the moment this stream is done.
And again, if you're not watching this live, that link will be down there.
Yeah, we'll
here
plug it anyway
at the end or whatever.
My boy Richie here is going to be
playing Kerbal Space.
Yeah, playing Kerbal Space Program. And let me clarify to anybody who wants to who might be panicky at that thing about those moving off the channel. All the Rich Alvarez content that you expect out of the Rich Alvarez channel, the sketches that are up and coming, anything in regarding to live action productions, any comedy productions, whatnot, that's all still here. The Rich Alvarez channel is still very much alive and still doing its normal thing.
Yeah.
We're just trying to compartmentalize.
Trying to exactly. Compartmentalize and also just kind of make it so that when you come to the Rich Alvarez channel, you're coming to the Rich Alvarez channel mostly for the live action content, and then you'll find the Star Wars stuff on the Star Wars channel. You'll find the video game stuff on the Video Game Network. But, of course, we will do the occasional Nintendo review and upload because we are Nintendo ambassadors, but we're Nintendo ambassadors for this channel.
Yeah, so that's part of the agreement. So Nintendo content will still stay on here.
Yeah, they don't want no zero sub.
No. Yeah, that's fine, and they can work their agreement. But, we wanted a place to put the people, to kind of feel like, all right, if you're one of the people that likes the live stuff, go over to that channel, and that way, it helps for a lot of reasons. It helps for organization, it helps for ads. It's just a smart way to run a channel. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for your sub on our new channel. Let's get to it!
Now let's get right into it.
All right, here we go.
All right, so starting with the big news, Wreck-It Ralph. Man, if you guys haven't seen the trailer yet for Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph wrecks the internet.
We're not. It's Ralph breaks the internet.
Ralph.
We're not going to play it here because that'll for sure get our video flagged. But
watch it.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
readily available.
But man, yeah, I mean, I love the first Wreck-It Ralph, and people were like, oh, it's a video game movie, and I go back and forth. I'm like,
we had this talk.
Yeah, we've had this talk on video game talk,
on video game fights,
yeah, everything.
on all kinds of stuff.
Well, it's inspired by video games, but it's not really a video game movie. I guess that's all whatever. It is a movie that is. Its roots are in video games, so for the sake of this conversation, we're going to call it a video game movie. Yeah. And I guess most people are considering it a video game movie too. And it's not based on a specific game. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a video game movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. Now, this trailer starts off with this old guy plugging in like what looks like a Windows 95 and just like uploading Wreck-It Ralph to the internet.
Which sets an interesting timescale for the movie. I guess I hadn't considered that this movies take place in the past, but it was during the heyday of the arcade generation, so that makes sense retrospectively.
The funny thing is, when I first saw the trailer for the first movie, I thought it was going to take place in the heyday of arcades in the 80s, but then in the arcade, we were seeing stuff that looked kind of like Mass Effect and things. There was very
advanced arcades for the 1980s.
So it screamed that it was like modern day, right? But then, you know, this new trailer makes it seem like the internet is like this new thing. I think that it's just an old guy that found this computer and he's just using an old computer to upload Ralph to the internet.
Okay, that's very fair. It could still be modern and just like they never really thought to wire it in this way.
Yeah, but
so that's all good.
They had been Disney had been hinting that the Wreck-It Ralph sequel would involve Ralph on the internet, and we've all been wondering what that means. But seeing Ralph there in like, you know, their version of the internet with like the physical like Google building and like all the like the people that are holding the ads, you know, the clickbait stuff that he runs.
That was really funny.
Yeah, that's all really great stuff.
That was
really
the first moment where I like actually giggled out loud when that guy was like, "Look at all the child stars that have gone to prison. The number 7 will be." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, except because that's what they do. All the clickbait. So I thought it was funny that we're seeing him interact in that way, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for this movie? I'm thinking that I'm gonna like it a lot. I mean, there's no reason to think otherwise.
It has a lot of. What does my drink look like? Oh no, it's still very much blue. Okay. I'm out of beer, so we're drinking Mio.
What a shame.
What a shame. I know. I was quite disappointed. But I don't know. I have a few things that I want to make sure that this movie doesn't do. But I don't necessarily want to start with that because that's kind of a weird note to kick off on. I'm totally okay with like a rehashing of kind of what made Wreck-It Ralph good, you know, because Wreck-It Ralph initially was a big nostalgia factor, and really, really harkened back to like really just like the core. You know, I guess it was just kind of a basic video game immersion was like really the appeal there, and the idea of like we're gonna try to compartmentalize and capture, you know, the wonder and the experience of like really being a kid who grew up playing video games and give life to these characters and whatnot. None of them were specific to any game as we saw, but you know, they were all very deliberately designed to be games that we would relate to, so that's cool. Now we're going into the internet. It's called, you know, Ralph Breaks the Internet. So I'm really excited at the idea that they're going to start exploring internet subculture and whatnot. And I think there's a tremendous amount of potential there. So I'm hoping the movie doesn't get a little too memetic. We're going into a weird territory here that it's just like reference, and they forget to like have a compelling story.
I don't think that it will, because we just had the Emoji Movie, and that is an example of a movie that went, you know, the other way. It was bad, and you know,
it was never intended to be good, though.
It was just bad, and they did it in such a bad way. I think that you know, anything that, you know, Disney probably looked at that, and if there was anything similar in Wreck-It Ralph 2, they're probably axed it at this point, you know.
I'm sure, and I'm you know, the production teams associated with these two movies are worlds apart. On one hand, we have an assembled together, hastily assembled team to come together and create a formulaic movie just based on something that's relevant right now, make its money, and then be forgotten. That was the Emoji Movie, and now, you know, we have, you know, obviously the production studio behind Wreck-It Ralph trying to make another timeless classic.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph 2. It's definitely on my watch list for this year.
I know, I would
November,
really,
though.
In and amongst, you know, we always are ended up talking about the MCU movies and a lot of the other, you know, it's kind of more hardcore ones, but it's almost a bummer, although it's not necessarily a bummer because I think it's directly correlated with its success, but it's almost a bummer that Wreck-It Ralph, or at least something of that quality, isn't actually rooted in a video game universe. Because right now, it's up to debate whether or not it's actually overtly a video game movie.
Right.
Or just a movie about video games. But if it is a video game movie, it stands to be the best among them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's cool.
Right.
And I'm you know, if the argument stands that Wreck-It Ralph is a video game movie, then, you know, I'm comfortable saying that it's probably the best executed. Whether or not Ralph's adherence to its own canon and its deliberacy in not recreating a specific video game universe is directly correlated to its success is a whole nother complex conversation that I don't even know if I want to get into per se. But it is worth discussing. Was because Wreck-It Ralph told its own story about its own characters make it a better video game movie?
Right. I think that all of that is true. And I think that, I mean, at this point, I'm willing to say it is a video game movie just because there aren't a whole lot of great examples of, like, what I would consider a video game movie, a movie directly based on the story of a video game. But, yeah, Wreck-It Ralph, you know, does what it does really well. And I think even in the collection of Disney movies in the last 10 to 15 years that aren't Pixar movies, because, guys, we've already discussed this last week. Pixar movies are developed by Pixar. It's not a video game, so it's not really developed. It's produced by Pixar, and then Disney is the distributor. Let's get that clear. Pixar makes their own movies. It's a separate animation department from Disney. But out of all the Disney movies in the last 10 to 15 years, and that includes such classics as Tangled, Frozen, Zootopia.
Right.
Wreck-It Ralph might be my favorite out of all those. I don't know. Zootopia is pretty good. But, but Wreck-It Ralph, it was pretty good. This looks like it's right up there in that level of quality and humor, and I can't wait to see it. Everything that Garrett said was absolutely true, too. But we are also transitioned. We are also getting a movie really soon, sooner than Wreck-It Ralph, that is specifically based on the story of a video game, and that's the Tomb Raider movie.
Where we've been before. And before we get into that topic, a few people in chat are asking why the stream is set under Rocket League. Is there a setting for that, or is that totally on their end?
That is on their end because the stream is set to entertainment, and some people must be getting the old link or something.
Okay, for sure. Just so long we're good. So long we're good.
It's
okay.
I've updated it on my
If it's messed up on your end, we're so sorry, but we did the thing. We promise.
Sorry we're not playing Rocket League.
Yeah. But we are playing Kerbal Space Program in the stream after this one on our new channel. Okay.
Yeah. So, Tomb Raider! And, you know, I know that some people had some qualms about that first trailer they released, but the trailer released like a couple weeks ago looked a lot better, and it might not end up being like a perfect movie, but guys, Tomb Raider was never a perfect game. At least never. As far as looking like Tomb Raider, it looks so much more like Tomb Raider than the previous Angelina. I don't even know what those Angelina Jolie movies were. I think they
I will say I liked them. They weren't good, but I liked them. And I feel like that's a really fair distinction.
I think they took what they thought was just like the sex appeal of Lara Croft, and then just like, oh, she goes on an Indiana Jones style adventure, and they kind of just like went with that and made their own movie. Yeah, there was no
Illuminati crap in the Tomb Raider games. Not as far as I know. It's been years since I played them.
Now, what's interesting about this movie is it seems to take elements from the new Tomb Raider games and the plot of the original game as well, and kind of molds them into its own thing. But Lara Croft definitely, Alicia Vikander, looks like Lara Croft from the newer games, especially.
Yeah. And this movie really is piggybacking off of the themology, the entire setup of the newer games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it does not at all follow the tone of the old games.
Yeah, but I think the newer games kind of do it better, though. I mean, I was a big fan
storytelling-wise.
I was a big fan of Tomb Raider back in like the 90s and stuff, but I think that the games are objectively better now. And I really think that them going for that look is a good thing. And I think that, Lara Croft doesn't just, she's, no offense to Angelina Jolie. There are some things that Angelina does do.
That was also very early in her career.
But
it's worth mentioning. Because Angelina Jolie has developed into a wonderfully well-rounded, incredibly talented actress.
Of course.
But
in those movies,
that was a ways in the beginning. So, and, sometimes actresses and actors have rough jump-offs. Natalie Portman, Exhibit A.
Yeah. So, anyways, so this new Tomb Raider, it looks like it's definitely been paying attention to the new Tomb Raider games, and definitely, I know that they worked a little bit with, the Eidos from before, and they worked with Square Enix, and they definitely are getting a lot of input from the video game companies on this one, and it looks like it could be good. However, it's funny because, I will say it, everybody has their own opinions. Just to preface, I will say that I actually enjoyed, like, the Warcraft movie. The trailer made it seem like it was going to be applicable to everyone. It was not. I enjoyed it because I understood what it was.
Yeah, it was a twinge grittier than I expected.
I will say Jackie was just sitting there the whole time like, what is this? What is going on?
Yeah, what is happening?
And I was like,
why do I care about this orc?
I loved it because I was able to oh, it's just like that guy. Oh man, because the thing in Warcraft 2 with that thing. Ah, I was able to
Boom.
Really get sweaty about Warcraft lore while watching that movie. Jackie, however, my wife Jackie, she did not understand anything, and also just, I mean, she was kind of like the anchor for, is this even a good movie outside of the lore of Warcraft? And I guess technically it wasn't. But I was having such a good time with my 2-hour cutscene.
It was just a 2-hour cutscene, because there really wasn't a moment where they stopped to explain things. And under any other circumstances, I would say that completely ruins your immersion in a movie, is if you have to, like, stop and explain it.
Yeah.
But, oh man, did that Warcraft movie need it.
Yeah.
It was like the classic example of like how Rogue One was the only Star Wars movie without an opening crawl, and it was maybe the only Star Wars movie that really, really needed an opening crawl.
So fun fact, the Warcraft movie was actually directed by Duncan Jones, who, fun fact, is the son of David Bowie. And he's a film director. He's still doing stuff, but he doesn't believe in a whole lot of exposition. So it could be argued that maybe he wasn't exactly the best choice to bring Warcraft to the mainstream. I liked what he did. I wish that there was 10 to 50 minutes more of kind of like something to I don't want to say like the whole like in the beginning there was like that exposition to death kind of
they
a
don't
thing.
even need to add 20 minutes to the movie, because they could have lifted the 45 minutes of arbitrary romantic subplot that didn't need to be in there, chucked that out, they would have had plenty of time for exposition.
See, it's like they did that because they thought that would help relate people to the story, but then it didn't because no one was getting into the characters in the first place. So I think that I do think that Warcraft was good for what it was trying to do. I think that, of course, it could have been better for the reasons I gave, but I thought that was a nice, like, at least felt like it was connected to the games. Assassin's Creed, I think, had a lot of mishaps too, but there was also some good there. Tomb Raider has the potential to be the best of all these ideas, best on retelling the story from the games and also presenting it to a movie audience, because a movie audience is, of course, very different from a video game audience. In fact, Matt Pat on Game Theory is even arguing that it's impossible to really bring a good video game movie to a movie audience because you're losing the main thing, which is the gaming. I think he is actually wrong on that a little bit, because I do think that video games can tell and have told great stories that you can adapt to the big screen. They just, in my opinion, have yet to do it yet.
Yeah, I mean, you are conflicted. It suffers from a lot of the same issues that when you try to take a book and port it directly to a movie. It's just like, well, like we were talking about Breath of the Wild earlier today and how it's this absolutely unstoppable juggernaut of a game.
Gorgeous game.
But like, that as a movie wouldn't be super stellar, because they're not telling like a super interesting. Breath of the Wild is not about the story that's happening. It is definitely about how you experience it.
That is only where Ocarina has the leg up, because you could definitely make a kick-ass movie.
You can make Ocarina. Ocarina is the one that is movie ready, sort of thing and whatnot. Except everybody's played it to death and knows everything about it, so that just is what it is.
But yeah, again, I always talk about Jurassic Park because that's nothing like the book, but one of my favorite movies. And I really think that, people give, people are like, oh, they didn't adapt it well. Like, that Batman movie is nothing like Batman, blah, blah, blah.
You said that.
I say that. I say it, yeah.
You say shit like that all the time, Richard.
But here's the thing. For example, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy might not be for me because it's not the Batman movie I'm looking for. Because it's it's a crime trilogy featuring Batman. I won't say more than that on here. But my point is, I think that when you're making a movie, I think this upsets a lot of people to hear. You need to make a movie first, and then you're making an adaptation second, because you really in order for it to work as a movie, it needs to be a movie. And I think Warcraft is another good example of like, wow, that did a really great job of adapting the lore of Warcraft. Did it please movie audiences? In China, maybe.
Yeah, the Chinese audiences loved that movie.
But they're looking for something different than American audiences.
Right, for sure.
So I think that I really think that especially in today's culture, you really have to nail like what makes a movie, and then the adaptation has to come second. Spielberg mastered that with the first Jurassic Park, one of my favorite movies. I still love the book, but the movie exists as a movie in a completely different medium, and it was changed to serve as a movie. So all I'm saying is I hope that this Tomb Raider movie does something like that, where I can finally say, okay, here's a good movie that was based on a game. It might not be exactly like that video game, but it was made as a well enough movie to serve both purposes, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, I find with so many video game movies, sometimes getting a chance to sit down and watch it, you know, we get a chance to really look at how absurd some of the plot lines of games are, because they get away with a lot because, you know, gameplay. The idea that you're immersed in a world, you know, you can deal with a whole lot of suspension of disbelief when you're actually playing, but all of a sudden you imprint that into, you know, a movie setting, and it's a lot of the time it's like, this doesn't transfer at all. No. But in your brain, that doesn't obviously register as like, you know what? I think Tomb Raider has always been a little absurd. It registers as, they did it wrong! So, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge, you know, this whole entire thing. But it's in a slow grind, but I want to say that on average, we've seen an uptick in this sort of thing.
A little bit.
On average. I mean, if you are all familiar with how data is plotted over time and whatnot, we see bar graphs and line point graphs and all these sort of things. And in the line point graph of video game movie quality, it's very, you know, kind of like, it's very high highs and low lows, with a lot of low lows. But in there is an average, and I think that average is ticking up.
It can be confusing for movie studios because the highest grossing video game movies for a long time was the Resident Evil series, which is it went completely the other way, where it's so different from the video games, in my opinion.
It was really just an action movie with a video game title.
Yeah, it just was titled Resident Evil. It was an action movie, had barely any resemblance to the games, and just, it didn't, you know, like I said, the thing you have to at least do when you're adapting a video game is at least keep the same themes. Try to keep the same tone. This kept none of the same themes, none of the same tone. The first Resident Evil movie didn't even have any of the characters from the games. It was a disaster, but people loved it, so they made, you know, what, 6 more. It
was a shoot 'em up action movie. If you're into shoot 'em up action movies, you're gonna like the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, so
that's fine. But does it succeed as an adaptation of the Resident Evil series? Not so much.
The last one, the final chapter, I mean, they even called it the final chapter, but it didn't do so hot, and I think that whoever owns it is thinking about rebooting it. I really hope that they don't, because in a few years, if they don't make one within a few years, the rights go back to Capcom, and then Capcom can either not give the movie rights out again, or they can give it to someone
a little more choosy,
a little bit more competent, because they sold those rights for cheap back in, what, 95 or whatever? Yeah. 96, sorry.
They were scrambling for like, we're gonna do it! And then, you know, it turned out to be what it was gonna be. Wasn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, my brain is, like, right on the tip of, was there a Silent Hill movie in the works?
There was a Silent Hill movie. There was maybe even 2 Silent Hill movies. So I'm thinking...
That's right. I do remember that. They had the girl with the doll face and her mouth was missing.
Yeah.
For the cover art. And those weren't great either. Okay, that's coming back
to touchy subject right there with Silent Hill. I love the Silent Hill games, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I always feel like you think the more I love something, the more I hate the movie that does it bad. But again, it's possible to do a poor adaptation but make a good movie. Case in point, Jurassic Park. Just saying. A lot of these movies are bad adaptations and just bad movies. So people think, oh, because they didn't adapt the game well, that's why it was a bad movie. False. It's a bad movie because it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
You know.
That's very fair.
Again, the Dark Knight trilogy, those are objectively good movies. I am just so weebo about Batman that I am...
You're not... Well, there's... If we had to bring home one big concept about video game movies, is that there's a lot of layers. I mean, we can agree with this. You know, there's the quality of the film itself, and that is taking everything out of the equation just as far as, like, the video game elements to it. How does it pace? How is it written? You know, just all of the directing smorgasbord as far as, you know, consistent direction, scening, and all that sort of stuff. There's how these movies stack up as movies. And then there is how did they stack up as adaptations. Those are 2 wildly different conversations.
Absolutely.
And Silent Hill is probably the, I guess you could say, the effigy of that particular discussion, where it's like, okay, we can look at these as movies or we can look at these as adaptations. Warcraft also stands up there as well, because Warcraft, kind of the flip-flop of Silent Hill, or not Silent Hill, but Resident Evil, and the idea that it was a very successful adaptation but suffered as a movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bottomless pit of bad video game movies gets even worse when you consider director Yul Bowl's movies, like House of the Dead and those travesties that are just so bad, I don't think they even deserve to be called movies, for that matter.
Well,
pretty sure Tommy Wiseau could have made a better House of the Dead movie.
I would have watched
it.
The shit out of Tommy Wiseau's House of Dead movie. If only for the...
You're so funny, zombie.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. And he could have literally been tearing him apart.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, zombie.
Yeah, so there's that. That's definitely the bottom of the barrel there.
I went onto the Wikipedia page for video game movies. Because there's a video game... And they unabashedly sort of declare Super Mario Brothers as the beginning of the video game movie era. And do you know of anyone that's prior to that? Prior to 1993?
What year did Mortal Kombat come out? I think that was 94.
Mortal Kombat was 95, and Mortal Kombat Annihilation was 97.
I like the first Mortal Kombat. You know, it's funny because we have these discussions sometimes, and I always say Mortal Kombat might just be the greatest video game movie of all time because it's at least an okay movie, and it's the exact story from the game.
Oh my god.
Perfect adaptation, okay movie, best video game
It
movie.
was the epitome of, like, kooky 90s martial arts flick.
Mortal Kombat! I think it's great.
For people like me who have, like, you know, fight scene choreography is like a big hobby of theirs, Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation regularly come up on, like, top 10 cringiest fight scenes of all time.
Yeah,
because they're just like, you know, they're like, it's like somebody decide. It's like a whole bunch of. There are scenes in that movie that literally play out like kids dressed as Dragon Ball Z characters, overacting their characters while fighting at the lawn of a convention center.
Which is hilarious because they had like real martial artists in that movie, but I guess the choreographer was just like
they had
drunk.
like 2/3 of the cast was like a martial artist, and it's really easy to tell. Like the girl who played Sonya Blade, not a martial artist.
No,
not a martial artist. They were like, you, the pretty one, you look like the Pink Power Ranger. Get in this bitch. Let's go. Let's make a movie. So as a result, there's like. The guy who played, like, Liu Kang and stuff like this, like, super celebrated, like, really, really good, like, effective martial artists. And there's, like, some people who are like, bleh, bleh. The guy who played Johnny Cage, he got like an hour and a half long dissertation on, like, this is how you punch, this is how you kick. Now, you can do the splits, that's your gimmick, go.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty much what they probably did.
Yeah,
but
it's fine.
Still good because fun.
You can't fault it. It's back in the day, so it's whatever.
Yeah, I can't really. I'm trying to think of like when did Street Fighter come out?
Street Fighter was December 23rd of 1994.
Okay, wow. Yeah, darn.
Preceded barely by Double Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was something before the Mario movie. But
I know the first few on this list, and they are spaced out. We have Super Mario Brothers in 1993, grossing about 21 million, netting a lovely 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I just weird if that was the very first video game movie. That's weird because I can still vaguely remember seeing the Mario movie in theaters when I was like 5 or 6. Like, and that's crazy if I could be like, yeah, I saw the very first one.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is weird because of what you went on to go do with the internet. So that's fine.
Is how old I am.
Double Dragon premiered with a box office revenue of a mere $2 million and has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not favorable. Dear. Street Fighter, $100 million box office grossing, still 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That money though, that's a success for Street Fighter.
That is. There's a reason I'm reading both of these is because they are two very distinct measures of success: critical acclaim and popular appeal.
And they just tried another Street Fighter movie. What, like less than 10 years ago, the Chun-Li movie.
Yeah,
that wasn't good.
Although I knew 4 people in that movie.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah,
cool.
When you grow up going to karate tournaments your whole life, you run into a whole bunch of people that would go on to be famous, like Taylor Lautner. I used to compete with Taylor Lautner all the time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Werewolf boy.
Yeah. And then he left to go. He like stopped doing tournaments. I remember the tournament where he was like, yeah, I just got cast in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Can't talk about it, but you won't see me around anymore. And we were like, what is this? And then he came back and he's like super famous now. And it's like, oh, okay. But Anish Shafura, who played Rinsler in Tron. Danny Brown, who is actually the main stunt double for Black Panther.
Oh.
Yeah, used to do tournaments with him too.
Oh, shoot, okay.
Yeah, that dude is a beast.
Meanwhile, you're just stunt double for me.
Yeah, right. Well, that's because like around 17, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go into business and telecommunications. I'm not gonna be a stunt man because like the top 1% succeed at that. But yeah, no, that's a good one. Anyway, moving on with our list. Mortal Kombat, 122 million.
That's a success.
And a 34%.
A little bit better. A little bit better, guys.
34%.
Learning lessons a little bit by little bit.
Yeah. But 34% on Rotten Tomatoes is a palatable movie. There are movies that I love that are in the sub 50% category for Rotten Tomatoes. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, a 51 million box office review, dropped to a 3% at Rotten Tomatoes though. That movie is cheeseball as shit, although it was the first R-rated movie I think I ever watched. No, that's not true. True Lies. True Lies was the
True Lies, lies to the truth.
Yeah. That was the first R-rated movie that I watched. Remember Wing Commander?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's got a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 11 million box office. I've never seen a frame from that movie.
It's not good.
Okay, fair enough.
Didn't last.
So that was the 90s. The whole of the 90s is Super Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and Wing Commander. That's video game movies in the 90s, according to their official Wikipedia page.
Fun.
So then we get into the 2000s, and we get into Tomb Raider, which grossed 274 million.
Most successful at that point.
Not the highest rated, though. Fell to a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Because it's not great.
Yeah, well, it succeeded in what it wanted to be, and it was never going to be popular with critics. That being said, objectively one of the most successful video game movies of all time. So that's cool. Resident Evil, your buddy, debuted shortly after in 2002 to an 100 million, to basically 100 million and then 34%. So that's successful. The Tomb Raider movies would basically continue to be, what is it? The Cradle of Life was 150 million with 24%. Let's look at some of the other. Oh, here's House of the Dead. 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another 3%er. Oh, man.
Should have got 0%.
Man, that's not a good movie. Oh, do I see a 1%er? Alone in the Dark.
Oh, I forgot about Alone
in the Dark with a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, man.
Dude, yeah, absolutely.
That movie's rank.
Probably one of the worst movies of all time.
Oh, man, my nose itches thinking about it.
It's not even, like, ironic. It's not bad where it's, like, ironically funny. Like, you know, again, Tommy Wiseau. Alone in the Dark. Movies like Alone in the Dark and then House of the Dead are just, like, bad.
They're just bad and done.
Get that out of your life immediately.
Doom, which I, to this day, will insist was underrated. The Rock's Doom.
Doom is alright.
50 million with a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Blood Rain, 4%. God, Blood Rain, ate it. Silent Hill, ate it. There's a Dead or Alive movie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
7 million and 33%. All right. Postal. Oh, yeah, I forgot they tried to make a movie out of Postal.
Yeah.
God, was that just like Carpenter Burt and like all the Grindhouse team just drunk on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
They were going to make a game about Postal. Give me a scythe and a shotgun. Put me in a post office. Like
I don't. It was not executed well.
Oh my God! I see
me
Mikhail Passion, which I bring him up in the chat because I know for a fact he's the type of dude to sit down and really try to enjoy Alone in the Dark. And I'm looking at his comment mentioning there's not enough bleach in the world to scrub it from his mind.
Oh no!
All right, well, Godspeed to you, brother. that is all good. The Hitman movie, not good. The Dungeon Siege movie. Remember that thing? Was that like Jason Statham in that one? That's a 4%er.
Oh, who was in Dungeon Siege?
I know, right? I guess it doesn't matter. It made no money. It was objectively one of the... I mean, 13 million, but in 2008, that was a respectably budgeted film. Apparently, we've got a Far Cry movie in 2008 that made under $1 million and is not even reviewed by Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that might be an independent movie they put on there for some reason?
Yes, all right. Well, that's cool. did they have the rights? Did like what? Who?
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, why would Ubisoft be like, oh yeah, you 4 Joe Schmoes from whatever, like make the Far Cry movie?
Yeah, I didn't think it was official, so I'm gonna look that up later.
All
Far
right.
Cry movie. Anybody know anything about that Far Cry movie from 2008? Let us know in the comments.
Right. Oh, the Tekken movie in 2010 got a 0% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, ouch. So that's all good. Ron Perlman and Jason Statham in Dungeon Siege. Thank you, Kyle Passion.
Nice.
That's a good cast. Too bad it tanked and was awful. The Need for Speed movie. Don't even remember that one. What's our biggest budget here? Or what's our biggest grossing here? It is the Warcraft movie with about half a billion.
Yeah, because those they got like over 300,000 from, over 300 million from China.
Right, for sure. Now let me scroll back up here. I'm going to see if I can find something rated above 36%. I cannot.
Oh boy.
Want to guess what the 36% is? The highest rated, what is it? It's the highest rated video game movie on both Metacritic and on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 36% and a 50 out of 100 respectively.
What is it?
Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Oh, that wasn't even that good. So Wreck-It Ralph's not on this list?
This list does not reconcile it as such.
Okay.
It's within they've got this secondary title here where they put like Pokemon the first movie as like, because those are technically video game, you know, kind of thing. Wow, Pokemon the first movie is awful in the review area. But let me go back up, because we got some up and comers here, and let me just sort of read them out of you.
The thing is, again, and I say this, I do love Wreck-It Ralph, and for the sake of this whole episode, I'm considering a video game movie. But usually in conversation, I say like, well, it's about video games, but it's not really a video game movie because it's not based on a specific video game. Because I realize, especially looking at this list, if we're gonna call Wreck-It Ralph a video game movie, that means we have to call Pixels a video game movie, and like other movies that are just kind of vaguely based on video game ideas. And I don't think that that's necessarily right, because those have a different judging system, I think.
Yeah, they're not. It's not fair. I mean, we're talking about direct adaptations here. Let me bounce some of these. We got some TBAs.
But it'll be exciting when the Tomb Raider movie comes out. We can talk about like how well it's doing and how people are reacting to it, what we think about it, etc.
Also,
we'll get back to you about that when we see it. Also,
we haven't even brought up Rampage yet.
Oh, that's right, Rampage!
Rampage is a video game movie, even though it bears... I mean,
the video
it's
game...
so distal in terms of its adaptation because it's such an older game.
Everything from... I mean, the funny thing is they haven't made a Rampage game in a while, but I mean, there was, of course, the original coveted arcade version. They made N64 versions, they made PlayStation versions, I think they even made a Sega Saturn version, etc., etc., etc. There are so many different versions. There's like a Rampage World Tour. You know, they brought it back to arcades again in the 90s. So yeah, Rampage is interesting because The Rock is kind of, except for Baywatch, he's on a roll with hits.
Right.
And he's like one of the most successful actors in Hollywood right now. And look at Jumanji. Jumanji was #1 at the box office for like 6 straight weeks or something like that.
I don't even feel like Jumanji was super great.
Did you see it?
No,
I loved it.
Oh, I loved it. Okay, I didn't
liked it better than the original.
I was going entirely on heresy. You liked it more than the original?
Yeah, I was like ham on like, Robin Williams is perfection, and it'll never be better than that. But the original movie was like an action adventure movie, and I love that. This was definitely a comedy action movie, and it's like, the funny thing is that I still say it could have easily not been called Jumanji. It could have been called something else, just about like people getting stuck in avatars in a jungle video game. And I don't know if it would have done as well without the Jumanji name or not, but for what it was, and I laughed my ass off, and I thought it was like filmed beautifully, and comedy was timed perfectly. The effects were great. The whole like thing was, the situational comedy was great. I loved it. There wasn't a bland moment. And the funny, as much as I love the original Jumanji, I can remember moments where like, I skipped this part as a kid. It was great.
So The Rock's on a roll.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit better than the original. Sacrilege, fight me.
I'm not going to fight you.
But the funny thing is you couldn't call the original Jumanji movie a video game movie at all. Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle was arguably, again, just like in the realm of Wreck-It Ralph and Pixels, it was a video game movie in that sense because it's about kids that get stuck in a video game.
Wait. It's not even a video game, though. It's a board game.
It was a board game. It gets turned into a video game.
Oh, in the new one,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. You got to see the new one, dude. At the beginning,
it's
like the board game knows that kids don't care about the board game, so it turns itself into a video game, and then they get stuck in the video game, and all of a sudden, Jumanji is like a video game. Like there's NPCs that keep repeating the same thing.
Got it.
Like, wait, what's going on? What are we doing? They're like seeing things like, oh, guys, this is a cutscene, and they're just like watching it.
Oh my god, I need to see this movie. This sounds amazing.
It's definitely, for all purposes, it is definitely a video game movie.
Okay.
No,
So
you didn't even know. You didn't even know.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Did you ever see the trailer for it?
No.
Oh well, shit. It's a video game movie.
I skipped it.
No, he had no idea.
I was like, cheesy remake, and I went, skip. All right, now I need to go back and rethink my life. Let me hit you with a few more. Just
you're gonna see people pissed off. It's like, dude, I will say this, and I don't say this for a lot of things because I mean, like for example, Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time, and people are like, oh, nostalgia. You just like it because nostalgia. I'm like, nope, I play it all the time.
Also, a ton of people still have it as it's not like a radical notion to say.
Nostalgia might play a part of that, but I'm just saying I have a lot of nostalgia for the original Jumanji, but being completely unbiased, this new one is good. It's objectively better. And you can hate me and think I'm crazy, but it is a better movie. I'm sorry.
As far as like how it's presented and whatnot.
There were a lot. I mean, I love Robin Williams, but Robin Williams did better movies than Jumanji. Jumanji was directed by Joe Johnston, and his directing already has a lot of flaws. We saw that in Jurassic Park 3. Like, I love Joe Johnston too, but Jumanji, guys, Jumanji's not a perfect movie. I'm sorry.
It's not.
Welcome to the Jungle was better.
It was so wildly, insanely unique for when it came out, and that's a huge part of the merit for it. But okay, we're gonna get stuck on Jumanji, and I want to move on. Let me ring off just a few more on this list, and let me kind of gauge how they hit your ear. For 2018, we for sure have Tomb Raider, we for sure have Rampage, and we have a rumored very, very late 2018 Dynasty Warriors movie.
Okay, that could work because I mean you just have to it's just samurais,
Yeah, it'll be neat.
I love Last Samurai.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see. I mean, any martial arts movie, I'm like, woo, yeah, get it. So we'll see. Dynasty Warriors can be a little convoluted and a little self-righteous, but that'll be an interesting sort of adaptation there. Are we gonna count Detective Pikachu as a video game movie?
Sure.
Okay, because I'm actually thinking that movie is going to be bonkers.
I actually am looking forward to it. Is it are they going with what's his name? Bradley Cooper as Pikachu now? That's what I heard.
I thought it was Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. You're right. It is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I was going to say. I hope it's still Ryan Reynolds. That's a huge hinge of me watching it. I'm like.
Yeah, I mean...
Ryan Reynolds is a talking Pikachu? I'm in! Like, that sounds like internet fan fiction.
I don't think they're going to let him do what he usually... Like, they're not going to let him do the Deadpool thing as Pikachu, but it'll be interesting.
No, but, he was an actor before Deadpool.
It's like... I don't know why I was thinking Bradley Cooper before. I must have, been...
I would have watched that movie, too.
I don't know, because now all my memories of them announcing Ryan Reynolds are coming back. And what I was going to say was people were so up in the air about Ryan Reynolds. Like, oh, it's going to be Deadpool Pikachu, or... Is it, what's it going to do? Oh, Pikachu's not supposed to talk. Rah. But everybody forgets. This is really important, guys. There's more than one Pikachu. Many Pikachus exist in the world of Pokemon. Detective Pikachu is not Ash's Pikachu. Detective Pikachu, like Meowth in the show, learned English and is a detective.
Yeah, I was going to say. Y'all have had no problem with talking Meowth this entire time.
Yeah. Meowth, that's right.
That's right. So, like, now we've got a Detective Pikachu to solve mysteries and shit.
Yeah, so it's not Ash's Pikachu. And I know that Ash's Pikachu kind of had a little thing at the end of the last, but people hated that. This is not Ash's Pikachu. This Pikachu talks. Get over it and move on.
Yeah. That's fine. It works for the story. What... I know we have perpetual limbo on the Minecraft movie. You think that's ever going to happen? And what the hell is going to happen when it does?
I don't know. That's a tough sell for me. Tough sell.
Yeah, I would need to see the Minecraft movie. Until then, I remain deeply skeptical.
I mean, you basically have to create an original story with that.
Right, because there's no story. But, killing the Ender Dragon and shit, and also just like a crazy exploration and world-building game. I don't know how you would make that a movie plot per se, but I'm sure there's people out there who could do it, I guess.
I mean, the funny thing is I never thought that they could make a movie just based on Legos, vaguely. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they did.
But the Lego movies have been stellar.
Yeah, they're just the first one was basically all about the son and the dad kind of like the son wants to be have the freedom to play and like they kind of made the bad guy the glue because the dad wants to glue all the pieces down and be all perfectionist about it. That was a really great way to illustrate how people play with Legos. And how that works as a story. Yeah. That was great. And then, of course, the Lego Batman movie is easy because it's just making fun of Batman,
Oh, yeah.
But if they could figure out a way to make it kind of meta like that in the Minecraft, game, like how how the characters in Minecraft are reacting to how the kids are playing it.
If it were like a meta experience, that'd be really cool about the world of Minecraft and how a human being is interacting with it. That'd be kind of cool.
And that also kind of harkens
we did
back
have,
to...
as Mikhail points out in chat, we did have the Telltale Games Minecraft games as well.
Yeah, that's true. But
I don't know if they'd go off something similar to that, but those were not human beings interacting. Those were the characters in Minecraft,
right?
Or some original characters.
So they could do something like that. I know that they were workshopping that. Maxis was back like 10 years ago when they were thinking about doing a Sims movie. It was going to be a very similar thing where the characters become self-aware and realize they're being controlled by something else, But it's like. But the funny thing is like things like The Sims, do they really even need a story? It's like I feel like Max is just kind of
you're kind of reaching at that point, Well, Maxis has never made a game with a storyline that wasn't 100% based on player input.
Yeah,
100% of all the Maxis games out there are just like you're in control. That's the thing. So like to step back and be like, now we're gonna make a movie out of this where we impose a story from start to finish. I'm like, well, I don't know. Now you're just kind of like.
I think
is it even the same thing at that point?
Anything's possible, but I mean,
Sims becoming self-aware is funny though.
Yeah,
because that's just a video game joke. It's like breaking the fourth wall and this big meta humor thing.
Yeah, but it kind of reaches that that uncanny valley of like is it in our minds does it work
Yeah, is this my game? Is this what I showed up to play? Kind of thing. That's interesting. We've also got, I'm going to hit you with just the last three really fast, and then we'll move on to questions. I don't know, what's our time?
We're at 51 minutes.
Okay, cool. Then
we've rambled this whole time about
I know. This turned out to be a good topic. We've got a Sonic movie allegedly in the works with a soft November 2019. We'll see if that makes it and if anything happens of it. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and chalk one up to Garrett being a little pessimistic.
You can already see my grumpy face over here. It's just like the last 10 years of Sonic have not been very good.
I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Although, don't they have that TV show?
What, Sonic Boom?
Yeah.
No one likes that.
Really?
No one.
Reddit likes it.
Reddit is on crack then.
I mean, yeah, but Reddit likes it.
Just saying, Sonic. Okay, here's again old nostalgia boy speaking here. Sonic hasn't been good since
Socially
Sonic
conscious Knuckles. All of the stupid meta, like all the Sonic. I mean, I also have the ability to have just been experienced the cherry picked good parts.
Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles were so good because they played a certain way, and you just got little bits of what Sonic was doing, and Chaos Crystals, Knuckles the Echidna, Eggman. It's so good. It sucks now. I don't know what they did, but they really screwed it up.
Sonic used to exist in a framework where I guess you should say that you didn't need to have a lot going on story-wise of the game. Sonic is really a triumph of level design and palatability from a gameplay satisfaction standpoint.
To be fair, I thought the first Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast was actually pretty good. And a lot of people, that's the immediate turn-off point for them. It's like, no, adventures, we're all down it. No, I think the first Sonic Adventure was actually pretty good. I do think it went downhill immediately after that, though. Just me.
Right.
All right, what else? Hit me with something else.
Clifford Loghead, I notice you, and we do questions at the end. Bing!
And we're almost there.
Yeah, we're there in maybe 90 seconds. So real quick, you got 45 seconds on Uncharted.
Oh, only 45 seconds. Okay, well, this is the movie that they've been promising for 10 years, of course, just like the Halo movie, which I've noticed they took off this list now. So, I don't know. Will Uncharted happen? Maybe. They're talking about...
That's one of the few where it's okay, this makes sense.
Because the last I heard about the Uncharted movie is Spider-Man, Tom Holland, the kid playing Spider-Man. That's who they've got right now to play Nathan Drake. A vastly different take on it than the video games. And they've got Robert De Niro potentially playing Sully. Here's my theory: because Robert De Niro, well, actually, no, he would be at least as old as how Sully is in the. Okay. Here's what I'm assuming.
You think they're doing a prequel?
Prequel. Yeah. Thank you. That's where I was reaching towards. They're doing a prequel where Tom Holland is Nathan Drake because they're like, well, we would at least like to tell a story that hasn't been told yet. And then maybe they'll do sequels that cover the stories from the games, or maybe they'll have Nathan Drake on all new adventures.
Right.
But I mean, I liked Tom Holland in Spider-Man: Homecoming and in Civil War, and I'm sure he'll be good in Infinity War as Spider-Man. Peter Parker. Will he be good? Will he be a good Nathan Drake? I don't know. We'll see.
If maybe in a prequel context. Who knows? Last one, because it's the last one on this list. And I know this is a game franchise you're not as familiar with, but that'll keep it nice and short. Sleeping Dogs has had a rumored movie in the work for a long time.
That could be a good movie.
Yeah,
I feel like that's more easily adaptable. Real world.
I know it makes a lot of sense. I almost don't know why. It would just be like a Yakuza movie.
Yeah,
it would just be like here's a cool Yakuza crime drama with a lot of these characters from a lesser known video game.
Yeah.
Sleeping Dogs succeeded at storytelling though.
Kind of cheating though. No, but it's good. I mean, I'd be glad if they made it, but I'm saying like, they don't have to like describe how they're gonna bring like a blue hedgehog to the screen.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, if anything, this game has probably been better off as a movie from the get-go because it's not been incredibly successful as an on-rails game competing with open-world Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I was gonna say also Grand Theft Auto. That's something that Rockstar has toyed with a little bit in the past, but they haven't even sold the movie rights.
They would do that
because they've just kind of flirted with movie studios, and they say nobody wants to do it the way that they want to do it. So I think they're
that's fine. Stick to your guns. They've got probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah, but last thing I want to say before we go to questions is that Halo movie. It's never going to happen because, unfortunately,
Halo is so past its prime at this point. Well, there was a time to release a Halo movie, and that window is closed. And it is locked.
Back when Halo 2 was happening and everything at the peak of its sales, Microsoft had approached Weta Digital, of course, Peter Jackson's company, and they were initially on board to produce the movie.
Yeah.
And then, he's like, after a couple years he gave it to Spielberg, and Spielberg was like, and then, it's just, the thing is, I think they made the mistake by going to these big-name, older directors. They really should have gone to the younger guys, and I know...
Ryan Johnson!
Maybe, no. but no, they did go to, I can't think of his name right now, the director of District 9 and that robot movie I can't think of the name of right now.
Pacific Rim?
That's not Pacific Rim. That was.
The boxing one.
Yeah. No. That's also not the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, then there's a lot of robot movies. Make sure you didn't throw me a bone.
The one directed by the guy who directed District 9.
Okay, got it.
I can't think of his name right now. Someone help me, unless you don't know. Chappie. Chappie was the name of the robot movie I'm thinking of. Little robot guy that's I'm helping.
That one had Diane Antwoord in it.
Yes, it did.
That South African band that I'm absolutely head over heels for.
So it's the guy that directed Chappie. He directed District 9. He directed Elysium. He directed all these big sci-fi movies made on a really limited budget. They did eventually make it to him, and he did make a 10-minute demo for the movie, and then the studio passed on it after that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because that same director that I can't think of his name, he also did a demo for an Alien movie, but then... Ridley Scott was like, "No, I'm going to make my own Alien movies." So this guy's just kind of SOL in that department.
Right.
But Pacific Rim was made by Guillermo del Toro, who did make a giant robot movie in the form of Pacific Rim.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's question time. So, here's the kind of questions that I'm looking for. If you want to propose to us a video game movie, something that you would like to see come into existence, we'll let you know how it hits our ear. We'll talk about it. If you want clarification on any of the other things, let us know. And, let's see. I want to go way up back because Clifford Longhead had a question.
Yeah, because there's always people that come in and they're like,
had a question super early on.
Can they stay to chat? Why are they ignoring chat? It's like we try to say at the beginning of every episode, we get to chat at the end.
We get to the chat. Otherwise, it just becomes a talking to chat fest, and that's not good to view later. That's way, way harder if you're somebody who's viewing later, not live. So we need to keep both audiences in mind. And we will get to you, so that's all good. Let's see. La 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 la. Oh man, I have no idea where I'm even going to get to this, but let's see.
Sorry, guys, we're just trying to find a good question.
I know. I wanted to go all the way back so that Danny Creeper for sure. Danny Creeper's first question was Bolt made by Pixar?
Bolt?
Yeah.
Was it made by Pixar? I don't think so.
No, I think it was DreamWorks. DreamWorks? I'm gonna have to look this one up.
Let's look that up.
Yeah. Bolt made by... No, it's just by Disney.
Just Disney Animation, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but not Pixar.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go to the end and whatnot. If you had a question from earlier, do me the fat, giant favor of restating it now so I can have them all at the end as opposed to reading through all of chat, because then I'm not going to have a hard time answering any questions. So that's all good. Let's see. Do you think Mario or Zelda will be in Wreck-It Ralph 2? I don't, because they're not officially licensed characters. Although we did see a few little cameos that we popped out, or that were pointed out in the first.
In the first movie, we got a lot of game cameos. Yeah. I don't think they have to rely on that in the second one as much, you know?
No, yeah, because these are like established characters now.
I mean, Disney has a lot of money, but they don't need to pay like Nintendo another $10 million to get 2 seconds of Mario. You know, since everybody now, Wreck-It Ralph is now the IP that will sell this movie, you know?
Right.
They had to put like Bowser and Sonic and Mario and everything in the first movie so people are like, oh, it's a video game movie. Now everybody knows that. Now they can just go in and enjoy Wreck-It Ralph 2. Right. So I maybe a cameo from like Hubert or Pac-Man, but I would not count on any of the other current major characters to show up. I just wouldn't. But man, am I looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, for sure. A few people have been pointing out the inevitable Ralph stumbles onto 4chan.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah, trust me, there's some offshoot, very dark, self-referential crap that this movie could cover that it won't.
Yeah.
Mind you. But that would be funny. So so that's all good. Let's see. A few people pointing out that Sonic X is a thing, the animated series from that is... Yeah. We know! I don't know that... Was that received well?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I have not watched a Sonic show since the original.
I know, I haven't either. Let's see. I mean, this was really, really, really old and whatnot. So, God, I cannot... Show was popular in the United States and France, in both countries by 2007. Best-selling anime in non-Japanese market. Okay, so it was objectively pretty successful for a few minutes there. So that's cool. Let's see.
Films? What do you like more, The Incredibles or Wreck-It Ralph? That's a tough question.
Wreck-It Ralph for me.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Barely! But enough for that I'm very sure about
It's tough because I've recently seen Wreck-It Ralph, and I have not seen The Incredibles since maybe it came out.
Yeah, The Incredibles is a phenomenal movie. I think just because of my history with video games, the nostalgia factor just tipped it a little bit in the direction of Wreck-It Ralph for me.
I will say I'm more looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph 2 than I am Incredibles 2. So
okay, I mean, I'm going to watch shit on both of them, so
maybe,
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to watch both too, but yeah. I'm saying maybe I liked Wreck-It Ralph more than The Incredibles because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. At least Wreck-It Ralph is what's fresh in my mind. I remember enjoying The Incredibles, but I think that I strongly feel like Pixar didn't need to make a sequel. I thought The Incredibles was fine as it was. I can't help but feel like they're only making an Incredible sequel because, like, oh, superheroes are huge now, you know, so...
That being said, The Incredibles is a great EP, and they'll do a good job with that one.
I'm sure
it will be
it'll
a good movie. Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's why they're making it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you mean Disney and Pixar are making a movie to make money? Whoa!
Yeah, they're really good at it. If they're good movies, keep doing it. Get rich. I don't care. So, Crazy Hannah Creations asking about a Legend of Zelda movie, which you touched on very briefly. Ocarina of Time being the big one that would be like the shoe-in. Problem with a lot of Zelda games is they're not... I mean, there's so much about the actual context of playing the adventure, solving the puzzles.
Zelda...
They're great games. But yeah, not all of them tell a very compelling story.
From the beginning, Zelda has always been about exploration. You know?
Right.
Whether that be, you know, in the 2D maps of the original or in Breath of the Wild where you're, you know, traveling across this vast Hyrule landscape. there is the one game, and this is why it's probably the best still in some people's minds. There's the one game that really focused on story, and that was Ocarina of Time. You know, it gets, you know, has deep cuts on, you know, like where Link actually comes from. We played the first half of the game as a child, and then we grow up, and there's like this kind of coming of age thing in the background. Zelda joins us in game as Sheik to fight with us. Ganon has his physical form as Ganondorf, and he's like a real physical presence, you know. No offense to, you know, the ethereal Ganon and the
Calamity Ganon.
Calamity Ganon, he kind of just serves as like this metaphor over there.
Yeah, right.
You know, and again, I love Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild may be my favorite Zelda game of all time, but Ocarina of Time, that story though. So you know.
Yeah, we. You know, a lot of Breath of the Wild wouldn't be the greatest for film. It's just so drawn out.
Is that what I was seeing over there? Was the Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah,
now?
it was the Breath of the Wild.
I
tried to do it a little bit. I tried to de-vape a little bit too fast off screen, and I choked.
Don't do that.
A lot of people are asking about your thoughts on, one, you know, the original Super Mario's movie, and like, two, is that even... Could we see a rehashing of
Yeah,
that?
I guess I didn't really go into that when you were on your list. I kind of was like, was that the first one? Wow!
Yeah,
but,
right.
I mean, here's what I'll say. I think that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, I thought they were funny in that movie. I think that movie kind of works as a comedy. It's, again, you know, and but here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying it's kind of a funny movie. If we're talking about, like, you know, B movie, like, disaster fest, it's funny, and I can appreciate it. So it's kind of one of those, it's so bad it's funny, but it also kind of achieves humor sometimes, like legitimate humor. Is it a good adaptation of Mario? Absolutely not.
No!
Mind you, in '93, they only had one to World to really work with Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, and World. Oh,
yeah.
You know, there's Donkey, he was in Donkey Kong. There was the original Mario Bros. Game that wasn't Super Mario. I know. Guys, I know there was more than four. I'm just stopping the hate before it begins. I know there was, like, Mario appeared in like a dozen games already by the time that this movie came out. My point was, they only had about 4, like, solid games to work with that were specifically about Mario to do.
Just rescuing the princess and that.
Yeah.
Again,
not even Peach. It was the first time Daisy was a thing. You know?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry. God damn it. Sorry. Mario Land on the Game Boy had come out like 2 or 3 years earlier, and that introduced Daisy. I just meant it was the first time that we saw Daisy as an audience.
You're off on a giant tangent here, and you have not even begun to address the question.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying. I keep trying to backtrack to avoid comment.
You keep covering your ass. You get it.
I will cover my ass all day.
All right.
Anyways, yeah. So what was the question?
That's what I thought. The question was, you got into it a little bit, that you know, like, the original was very kooky and poorly, and just, like, barely even succeeded as a movie, except for being kind of unintentionally funny sometimes.
Right.
Could that series be rebooted? Who would direct it?
Oh, sure, yeah. So, I know that Sony, for a while, was in bids to make the movie, which would be hilarious if Sony made a Mario movie. But, I don't know. It's up to Nintendo who they want to do it. I think that a CG Mario movie is probably the best way to go. You know, in a perfect world, just let Pixar handle it. But I think you kind of, you know, the way to make it like true to the truest to the games without betraying anything is just make a CG movie where Mario looks exactly how he's supposed to look, and he's voiced by Charles Martinet. And, you know, it's like they just go on a fun little, like, go-karting thing that goes bad when Bowser and Bowser Jr., like, take over, and then they get stuck on a giant board game for a little bit, and then, you know, they get stuck in, like, a party or something. You know, like, they just, like, gotta go through all the motions of Mario in a movie or something like that. That would be fun.
Fun to you.
But here's what they should really do. What they should really do is make it more of a superhero movie. Now, I know some of you, if you guys are some really old Rich Alvers fans and you're talking deep cuts, I think I mentioned this in an old Wiki Richie where I actually kind of wrote like a premise for a Mario movie a long time ago, and it had to do with like a teenage Mario first discovering his powers. Yeah. It was basically a superhero movie, but about Mario, because I think it would be
Mario
really
the
cool.
Superhero origin story.
Yeah, it would be like the origin story of a superhero, but it's Mario. But it would be theatrically like a superhero movie, and I think that's great. You know, like, you know, it would be a really cool way to introduce the character. You know, kind of show like why Mario and Luigi are like, you know, they're living on their own, why their parents are dead, how they got to the real world, why they, well, you know, what the Mushroom Kingdom even is. You know, Toad's introduction. Him, you know, like Toad would be like the Yoda, kind of explaining to Mario like what the hell Mario even is, why Mario can shoot a fireball out of his hand after puberty, you know, etc., etc., etc. And it would be like a superhero movie. I think that would be really cool. That's what I would want to see.
That's probably how it would work.
I would also watch the kids movie too. So I'm just saying they could do whatever they want. Who should direct it? That's a big question.
Yeah, I know. We'll move on from that one. Witcher? Witcher movie?
Witcher would be a great movie. Why? It's like it's Witcher 1, 2, 3. You know, like, you know, people really love Witcher 3.
Yeah, I would like to say I'd like to see us some a Witcher movie would be great. Anything set in maybe in between 2 and 3. There's room for a cool movie there. As you know, kind of dealing with the fallout of Witcher 2, kind of the destabilization of that whole kingdom. Crazy Hand of Creation switching for a Kingdom Hearts movie. Kind of already a Kingdom Hearts movie. It's called All the Disney Movies and the Kingdom Hearts Games. I mean, like, the idea that a movie would be created where all the Disney EPs exist would be insane.
Yeah, I think that would just work as a game.
We're gonna put that in the pipe dream category right over here. File that away. Let's see. We're getting close down to it because there were a lot of redundant questions then. So that's all good.
I think we have time for like one more question.
I know, right? The Full Metal Alchemist movie, not a video game movie. Didn't care for it. Little cheapy, but
yeah, I did. I thought Al looked real fake. I'm a big fan of Full Metal Alchemist. I was disappointed as well. It just didn't feel like
doesn't get a thumbs up from me. Let's see. John Quantum pointing out very wisely that a lot of these have potential as Netflix movies or equivalencies and whatnot. Very
like the
good point.
Castlevania anime series,
right? Which was dope.
Great, yeah.
It was so good. We need more of that. So let's see. Maybe we can get a better Street Fighter and a Mortal Kombat movie. Hard to say. Movies like that don't survive in the. I would love to see like a Mortal Kombat 10-episode Netflix miniseries focusing around the founding of the tournament. That would be really cool.
Or you mean live action or animated?
No, I mean live action.
Oh, you mean live action?
I would take animated too.
Street Fighter would have to be animated.
Street Fighter would have to be animated. Mortal Kombat could be live action, but because it's all, you know, so many of the graphics were attempted photorealism.
Would you rather see a live action Mortal Kombat or an animated Street Fighter?
Ooh, good question. I would, if the Mortal Kombat is rated R and has the appropriate amount of gore, I would like to see Mortal Kombat better. Also, I am more attached to Mortal Kombat as a franchise.
Okay, see, I'm gonna have to go Street Fighter if it's done in a similar like animation style as that Castlevania show. You know? Right. Because, you know, even though Street Fighter is not as violent as Mortal Kombat, it does require a high level of animation to be good. You know? And
definitely.
I would love to see a Street Fighter anime. But, Rich, there was already that old Street Fighter anime. New one on Netflix.
Right.
All right.
Okay, we're going to go for the Blitz, and we're going to catch up with chat. Ready? Here we go. Morning Coffee Run. It was announced that Silent Hill is getting a third film.
Well, don't care.
To which I say, tough break. Good luck to you guys. Hope you turn it around. Don't think you will. Hope you turn it around. So that's all good. Maybe a Persona 5 movie? Kind of kooky.
They should really do a live action Persona 3 movie before they do anything else.
That's a fair point. So that's all good. Perhaps Xenoblade venturing into the film or animated.
Xenoblade needs to stop.
I actually just want don't hate me, and maybe I shouldn't. Are we on? Yeah, we're not on we're still on the Rich Alvarez channel, so I'm just going to say this very quickly so no Nintendo reps find me. I think Xenoblade should go away forever.
I agree.
Okay, there we go. I don't like it. It's not good. Okay, there we go. Chronicles 2 is all right. So let's see. The director of Castlevania series, he wanted to do Metroid style. Super down for that. That gets my big thumb up. That gets a big thumb up from me. A live action Skyrim movie. I would love a live action Elder Scrolls movie, but Skyrim has been done to death in so many different iterations that I don't want any more Skyrim media.
Skyrim.
I would like a Elder Scrolls movie though. That sounds good.
I think it's funny. This kind of goes back to like people are like, I want a Skyrim too. It's like, well, you'll get one. It'll be called the Elder Scrolls 6, buddy. You know, like
that's fair. They're just gonna make games.
Guys, believe it or not, Elder Scrolls existed before Skyrim.
I would take a Fallout movie over Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
It's just better as a movie.
Yeah.
It's just better as a movie. I don't know that I want either. I just want another game.
Oh, I would love a Fallout movie.
But a Fallout movie would be pretty great. Overwatch movie? Love it. There's so much unexplored content in Overwatch. There's so much unexplored story. Every single time, like, they're just like, oh yeah, let me show you this one thing about the backstory. There's a ton there. I think that would succeed very good. Let's see. Look at the Persona 5 anime movie trailer. You'll love it. Okay. Also, live action Metroid. I'd like to see an animated Metroid. Love to see a
Metroid's got to be animated.
Yeah.
It's going to not be good. Yeah, what about animated Metroid? I agree. Crazy Hannah Creations, animated Metroid.
Right.
That'd be funny if the Castlevania guys made the Metroid, then it'd be true Metroidvania, you know?
It would. It would be Metroidvania. Ah, that's so good. And on that note, I think we should call it quits. Let's begin our transition to the other stream, because, guys, we still have another hour to go.
All right. Spam that link. Spam that link.
So, here you are, guys. Also, real quick, there was an Assassin's Creed movie that came out recently. Moderate.
About a year and 3 months ago?
But moderate critical acclaim. Yeah, go check it out if you like. If you're a big fan of Assassin's Creed, my understand is you'll probably get a kick out of it. You won't fall head over heels for it, but that's all good. All right, guys, we're going to take like a 5-minute break to just like get some fluids. Studio lighting is so hot, but I'm going to give you 3 links real quick. For starters, in fact, I'm probably only going to give you 2 links, but let's see. For starters, some people were asking about this in the last few streams, but we do have a Discord. I posted it earlier, and I forgot to post it in the last stream, and I'm so sorry. But there's our Discord. Now that we have 3 channels: Star Wars Network, the Video Game Network, and the Rich Alvarez channel. Even if you just want to go to the Discord to get the notifications so that you kind of have one central place to get all the RMA information, I highly recommend that you do that. Also, it is a very active and vibrant community that is pretty active in, you know, if you like your memes, you can get your memes there. If you want to talk with us, I'm on pretty much constantly. He's on occasionally. We have a large presence there, so that's all good in a good mod structure. So go check that out. More now with 3 channels, it's more important than ever that we have like a single meeting place for everybody. So that's the first thing. Second thing is starting up in just a few minutes here. Once we can just like rehydrate and cool off for a second, we are going to be starting a Kerbal Space Program stream over on Video Game Network. We're doing a very brief series called Backseat Gaming, where I take a nigh impossible to play game that Richie doesn't know anything about, and I go hands off, and I just shout at him from behind to get his shit together. So, if that sounds interesting to you, we have another hour, and that one will be a more conventional live stream. You know, we'll be interacting with chat a little bit more regularly, and playing through that in a more context. It's not just going to be information vomit. So, check that out. Again, please and thank you. Go sub, hit the button. It's totally free and easy and super doesn't cost you a thing. Just go hit that sub and that notification, and we'll be over there in like 5 to 7 minutes once we can rehydrate and cool the room off a little bit. And then we'll be going for another hour as I shout at Rich and try to get him to play a video game that's really hard to play. So thanks so much to you guys. I think that's it.
Yeah. Just click that link that we just posted, or click the link in the description below, or click this square right here. Not this square, not Garrett. The actual square that's sitting right here. All right, guys.
Oh, square?
No.
Okay.
It's actually more of a rectangle. All right, guys. Bye.
Annotations. Peace out, YouTube. We'll see you on the other channel in just a few minutes.